Warning: you may see some unsafe practices and safety precautions being ignored. Make sure you always read and understand all safety guidelines that came with your tools. In other words, do not try this at home. In today's project, I'm working on the Bowden End. I am skipping the Bowden start because I've modified the STL file for the extruder to accept uh, a hose, quick connect for the hose for the Bowden tube. I started out with a 5mm brass stock, and I'm center boring it with a 2mm drill bit. This is a 1032 die. I am trying really hard to get it started. It's not working. It's actually making a taper on the tip of that, and you gotta go real slow, otherwise it doesn't accept the. It'll strip the thread off before it can even bite onto it and get it started. So I struggled with that long enough. I figured, well, the stock has got to be too wide, so I'm going to go ahead and once again, I'm not doing it the proper way, and I'm using the parting tool, but I'm shaving off just a little bit at a time before, so I can get that 1032 die to go ahead and start threading on there. Now I don't want to take off too much because that'll make the wall too thin where I bored it. Alright, so I got it started on there. Now I'm doing this by hand. If I turn that machine on, it'd probably go too far and I'd probably snap something off. So now I just have to cut it to length. And there is my blank piece. Now it's got a little nub from whenever I cut it off, so got to put it back in here, and instead of using the parting tool, I'm using the file to just grind it down. And on the PTFE side, I need to use a larger drill bit so I can use the 4mm tap. And there you have it. Probably the most simplest piece I had to make yet. A little frustrating. Now that center board didn't get exactly centered, but in my experience, it doesn't have to be because uh, it the PTFE in the one-piece nozzle, the bore in it is larger with the PTFE tube that I'm about to install. So this is a 3mm PTFE tube. And this goes in the backside of the one-piece nozzle. Now this piece right here has a bend right about there, so I'm going to cut it off. It's close enough to it that it'll give me plenty to cut off right there, and then I'll cut it to length after I put it back in. So I'm just cutting it on the bend right there, since that'll be a pinch point if I were to use that elsewhere. So I put it in until it's flush. Now I grabbed the wrong piece is what that was, so I got to put it in here, put it in flush, and cut it off. So that actually finishes off the one-piece nozzle right there, and I just got to thread all the pieces together. Make sure everything's snug. Now I'd probably over an open flame heat everything up, that way the metal expands, and then tighten down just that little bit more, so that whenever it heats up, whenever I'm heating up the hot end, then it doesn't loosen itself up. Now this is going to be the Bowden tube that I'll be using. Now in order to get this to work, I gotta sharpen, or at least thin the walls just a little bit, so I can get it started into the Bowden End that I just made. And there you have it. Another piece done.